Housing continues to be so unattainable and so expensive that now there are businesses popping up in places like San Francisco that offer you a place to stay. But the place that you can stay in consists of a pod with a mattress in it and a common area that you can share with other people, including a bathroom that you can share with many other people. So let's talk about what these bed pods are. They're designed by a company called Brownstone. Now, don't let that name make you think of brownstone apartments or anything like that, because that is not what's happening here. Here's what they look like, okay? That's it, that is what you rent.
Wow.
Now, Ramesh, how much would you be willing to pay for one of those pods?
You can't pay me to be in there. I would get major claustrophobia.
I mean, yes,
and
the claustrophobia, but also you're basically sharing a room with like a ton of other people.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember when I was like 20, 21 years old, like in Amsterdam, being in like, being like, it was fun. Being in like a hostel with 40 beds in the same room because I was bankrupt and I paid, I think $12.
I'd rather sleep under a bridge
for a night.
Like I don't want to be stuck in a room with that many strangers. That sounds awful.
It was pretty bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how much did you pay for that?
$12.
$12. Okay,
Yeah.
American dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, in this particular case, we're talking about actual housing. This isn't a trip that people are on. This is where people are living, and they're paying $700 a month for it.
You're kidding me.
$100 a month.
They live in the pods?
Yes. Yes, that's the right reaction. He's like shocked by this. Yeah, because housing is still unbelievably expensive. Like we have not solved the housing crisis. We haven't even gotten close.
No.
And what blows my mind is that they're paying $700 a month to live in these pods in San Francisco. And San Francisco is not a desirable place to live right now, okay? No. I wouldn't live in San Francisco if like TYT moved there and I was required to work in studio. I'd be like, sorry, I guess I'm gonna quit my job. I'll do anything else. Don't wanna live in, San Francisco's a nightmare right now.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're paying $700 to live in that city with these conditions gives you a sense of how bad the housing crisis is. But we haven't banned foreigners from laundering their money by buying US real estate, including residential properties. Yeah. We haven't stopped private equity firms from snatching up housing in America.
And keeping it vacant so they can speculate on it.
Keeping it vacant or renting it out to people in some cases, right? At exorbitant rents. And so like, let me give you some more details on what this living situation is like. So the arrangement for people who live in these pods gets even worse because the shared living space doesn't come with a full kitchen or a laundry machine. All you get is a few shared living spaces as well as some shared bathrooms. So that's what the living spaces look like. I actually think that's cute, nothing wrong with that. But remember, you're sharing it with a lot of other people. And $700 a month is no joke. That is a nice chunk of change considering what you're getting. And look, you might think that this setup is not there's no way this is popular, except when you're in the middle of a housing crisis, it absolutely is, because some people literally have no other choice. Due to unaffordable housing prices, these pods are actually in high demand. Brownstone's CEO, James Stallworth, says that the complex's 28 beds will be occupied next month. So if you're looking to rent one for $700 next month, you're out of luck. And that's probably thanks to San Francisco's insane housing prices. Zillow has San Francisco's median rent for studios. That means no room, it's just like one small room with no bedrooms, okay? At $2,205 or $655 above the national median. The average rent for a one-bedroom San Francisco apartment is $3,040 a month, again, according to Zillow. And there is some likelihood that the pods won't even be around much longer because they are likely breaking some of the city codes. Believe it or not, there are still some laws that they like to enforce in San Francisco. It's just that they enforce it for working people that pay their taxes and are victimized by the housing market. But nonetheless, what do you think about all of this, Ramesh?
Well, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. You know, San Francisco is a place, San Francisco, Oakland, and Berkeley were places I used to hang out at a lot, you know, in my late teens, into when I went to college in the Bay Area. And San Francisco is a shining light at that time, and definitely well before then, of a place that had many different kinds of populations within it, from the Mission District and you know, the Cesar Chavez history to Chinese Americans having it be like a really important home to them.
San Francisco was one of my favorite places to visit, and the Mission District was my favorite part of San Francisco.
So fun, so beautiful, such great food,
Lots
such beautiful murals, parks, Dolores Park, and it, you know, and it's sort of a story that's in some ways I witnessed because I studied engineering and I went to Stanford. So I literally saw the effects of people that I was in engineering classes with as they became bazillionaires and I went into academia. The effects that they had, and I don't mean this to gaslight anybody, but on the actual environment of San Francisco. I saw people left San Francisco. You know, there's that famous, I don't know how famous it is, but there's a great movie called The Last Black Man in San Francisco that some of our viewers may have seen. So what happened was the material effects of tech corporatism on the actual lived environments that people of a thriving metropolis that had so much bohemian and artistic and countercultural and also very diverse histories. And so amidst it all, what you continue to see in San Francisco, which we see heavily here in Los Angeles, and I know you talk about this all the time, Anna, are so many unhoused people. So many unhoused people. So then it becomes set up by right-wingers as a place that's full of crime, it's gross, it's disgusting, it's blah, blah, blah.
It is though.
But
it is.
But who is behind that? Are mega corporate elites, in many cases who tend to veer you know, toward at least neoliberal anti-regulation policies, if not right-wing Republican ones. And so you can see the whole thing as a petri dish cooked up by elites that is now being used on a populist level to kind of detest it because the city is sort of left of center.
Look, I think that that's definitely part of it. I also think that there have been policies in recent years that were well-meaning and ended up having terrible, basically consequences that they did not expect. And now they're trying to reel it in, but it's really hard to do that. So, I mean, look, I think that doing something about mass incarceration is super important, but you can't put the cart before the horse. Our prison system does not rehabilitate people. And so Newsom brags about shutting down 2 state prisons under his watch. Okay, what happened to those people? Did you help them? Was there any transition program? No, there wasn't. There was nothing done to rehabilitate them or help them. You just shut down the prisons and gave yourself a pat on the back because you know you're into doing something about mass incarceration. Simply shutting down prisons and not actually doing something to rehabilitate people and transition them back into society is not solving the problem.
And the other thing we've seen play out in San Francisco are various Democrat elites, like Newsom, like obviously Pelosi, like Kamala Harris, who was the DA in San Francisco when I was like a kid, and how they have actually excised actual progressives and activists, right? And so we saw that with Chesa Boudin, for example, right?
I wasn't a fan of his, so
yeah. I mean, I was supporting it, but I don't know the policies that he promoted as much. But we just have seen that again and again and again in San Francisco. You know, I do a bunch of events with City Lights. They're good friends of mine, but you know, that's a very famous old school arts and culture bookstore. The only reason it's still there is because you know the beatnik owner of it actually bought it. Right?
Oh wow!
So a lot of the countercultural kinds of institutions, the ones that are even critical of capitalism in its current heinous form, tend to be ones that are old institutions that were able to escape all of this gentrification because they were acquired early enough. Emory Douglas, the former minister of culture for the Black Panthers, and the person behind the Black Panther newspaper, lives in San Francisco still in his grandmother's house.
Oh wow!
So think about how old that is.
I wonder what their perspective on what's happening is, right? Because this isn't San Francisco, it's Oakland, which is obviously right by San Francisco. Yeah. But the Oakland NAACP put out a statement urging local politicians to respond to the crime epidemic or the crime increase in their city. They have like a very severe shortage of police, and that's having an impact on the local community there. And it was kind of like breathtaking to hear that from a group like the NAACP, but they're like, listen, there are people who are being victimized by this, and the people who are most victimized by all of this disorder and all of this crime are marginalized people, whatever remains of marginalized people in places like San Francisco and Oakland. And I think that's a good point. I just don't think, I'll give you an example of something that Newsom literally just signed, and it blows my mind. So part of the reason why I had an issue with people like Chesa Boudin is, look, I mean, just not refusing to prosecute violent crime isn't solving the issue, okay? Yeah. Refusing to prosecute people in possession of illegal firearms in a state that likes to boast about how they care about gun control doesn't make sense to me. So our progressive prosecutors in the state have decided we're not gonna prosecute gun possession, illegal gun possession. And at the same time, Newsom just signed a bill that bans the sale of bulletproof vests in the state of California. Wow. Because sometimes criminals wear bulletproof vests. Make it make sense. Someone make it make sense, please. Okay, I'm not some rabid right winger, but I think communities should feel safe. Yeah. And violent crime should be prosecuted.
Sure, I mean, there's incoherence through it all. Because I think now we're more and more in a political environment where people are just reactive to something or the other.
Totally.
Rather than thinking about it as a system, right? What does security look like, and what's the role of policing and prosecution within that?
Right.
Right, I mean,
and look, if you're a progressive lawmaker, a local lawmaker who likes to point to the lack of housing to explain rising crime, okay, fine, you know what? Then put your freaking money where your mouth is and fight to build more housing. They don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't do that. Oh, but it's the NIMBY community. I'm so afraid of the NIMBY community. Then don't give me your BS excuses, because you're not a serious person. You're not looking for serious solutions. Yeah. You're just looking to provide cover for your failures.
Yeah.
And I'm just sick of that. So anyway, I didn't expect this story to like devolve into me airing my grievances about like political leadership in this state, but it's been abysmal. And
it's a sad thing.
It really has. They've completely abandoned the working poor. They have abandoned the homeless people, and they have all sorts of excuses for what's actually happening. If those are the excuses you're gonna provide, then you have to provide solutions for those issues. And you can't come at me with like, oh, but homeowners are mean and we're worried about how mean they are. Either build more housing or shut up.
I mean, that's the main issue with a lot of Californian politicians.
They're the worst.
They rhetorically use progressive language at times because much more energy and populist energy is in the progressive space. But then you look at the actual actions or the lack thereof. Totally. That's what's so frustrating.
If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.